Hello, everyone. Today, we are in conversation with Dhruv Narayan Singh ji, who is a practicing astrologer and writer based in Varanasi. He has been involved in astrology since 2016. He has primarily worked with Mark Bonney, who himself is a writer of many books and internationally known in the world of astrology. Dhruvji has recently written a book called Career Choices Explained Through Astrology, which I should say is a must read for everyone who's trying to figure out their career choices. And in that book, he has attempted to provide some answers to the most common career questions. Welcome to Saptarishi's Astrology, Dhruvji.
Namaste, Arpita, and namaste to all viewers and audience of your channel. Thank you.
So, Dhruvji, before we dive deeper into your book, could you please tell us what got you into astrology? The journey from running a pharmaceutical company to doing this, and I believe you're still running your company, right?
Yes, I'm running a company. I'm running a pharmaceutical company in Eastern Uttar Pradesh, and I've been running it for the last 12 years, and it has been a very satisfying journey for me. And yeah, it's great. It's great to run a company and experience how it grows. Yeah.
So, what got you into astrology from doing that?
Actually, I'll tell something about my background. My grandfather I hear was a very good astrologer, and as a kid I had many books of astrology in my home. Obviously, at that time I didn't understand any of these books, and they were just lying there. And then I went ahead with my school. Then I lost touch with all those astrology books. Once what happened was I fell very ill, and I just stumbled across an astrologer who could see my past and see how I fell ill, and he he could see my past and say a lot of things about my life which had happened with me. So that really fascinated me because I thought that wow, that's amazing. I mean, how can a person see so many things in my past? And and then I felt like as if I should also do it. And I started learning astrology. Luckily, with God's grace, I found Mark, and he has been very kind with support, feedback, and everything. And since then, I just picked up. I started practicing astrology as well on a professional level, and I have my website, and people can come and consult me as well. So that's how it started.
How amazing. It's been quite a journey for you.
Oh yes, I mean I think it's amazing that's I think a best thing that could happen to me. Astrology is really, I mean, really I'm very passionate about it. Yes.
So, if we jump to your book now, in your book, you've
Mm.
used a term composite approach. Can you just
Yeah.
explain what do you mean by that, the term?
Yes. I think the word composite approach means that we are using many different dasha systems. Dasha systems means like in Shotri dasha, Yogini dasha, Jaimini dasha, conditional dasha. So what this term means is that we pick up one dasha, let's say Vimshotri dasha, and we are trying to predict someone's marriage, and we see that marriage is likely to happen on some particular date or time frame. Then we take up the different dasha, let's say Gemini dasha, and we also arrive at the same time frame. So, as an astrologer, we can be more sure about that time frame giving marriage, and that kind of uh, coming together of time frames is called confluence. So, when we see a confluent picture from two different dasha systems, then as an astrologer, we are more sure that we are predicting the in the right way, and we are moving ahead with confidence. So that's what composite approach is. Composite approach basically means using many different dasha systems to arrive at a prediction.
So one can say it's a confirmation, right? When a
Yes, yes,
confirmation
yes,
of an event.
definitely. Definitely, definitely,
Okay.
yes. It's a kind of confirmation, yes.
Okay. So if you were to use or explain it in a one or two line, what would you say is the
Yeah.
major difference between Gemini and Prashri?
I think Gemini system uses sign-based drishtis, like Rashis aspect each other, whereas in Parashi planets have various aspects, as we all know. So that's one difference. The other difference is that we have Karkas in Gemini, depending upon the degree a planet has. It can become Amartya Karka, Atma Karka, things like that. So we have seven Karkas. We don't take Rahu and Ketu because I follow my Jyotish Guru Sri Mark Bhoni, and we have seven Karkas. That's what I've learned from him. So that's what I follow.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
that's the
So
basic difference between Parashari and Gemini systems astrology.
now, for the benefit of our viewers, can you pick a field and show us some examples? Show us with examples how to use your book, how your book should be used or understood.
Uh, yeah, I think before I show some examples, I have a presentation which I'll show. I wanted to tell the viewers of the channel how is this book different and why I've written this book. Now, the thing is that people these days want satisfaction and success in their career. I mean, in modern times, everybody wants that. And I often hear people coming to me and saying that, can I pursue this career? Because there are so many different career choices which have emerged these days, and people often want to. Sometimes they find about it, but they're not sure whether they are heading in the right direction. They want assurance from someone.
That's
So
true.
that's how astrologers and astrology can help. So the prime question which I answer in my book is, can I pursue a particular career? And what's the time frame to start that career? So that's the main objective of the book. And how I have been able to do it and how is this book different is that it's a very research-based book. What I mean by research-based is that 20 like common parameters of 20, at least common parameters present in the chart of at least 20 people present in the who are in the same profession or same career has been studied in detail. So after all those 20 charts of people who are in the same profession has been studied, some findings came out. Now let's say a person comes to an astrologer and asks, "Can I pursue this career?" So, the parameters which were found for that particular career, if it shows in his chart also, then he is likely to, pursue and succeed in that career, provided he's also interested in it. Obviously, interest has to be there
It can be used as
first.
a guide.
So, yes, it's a guide. So like that's how this book should be used. And the other thing is that I have covered five career choices in this book, like career as a internet personality like YouTubers, and like career as a fashion designer, career as a top ranking military general, career as a coach, and career as a restaurant owner. So these are the five choices, but the methodology used in the book is such that it can be applied to research and study any career. If you have enough charts, let's say if you have enough 20 to 25 charts, then the methodology which I have used in the book can be applied on those 20 charts for that particular career, and parameters can be found out and can be applied in you know different career fields as well. So with that, if you allow, then I'll start with my presentation.
Absolutely. Let's start that. And I would like to know our viewers, before we get into the presentation, that every technique has an exception. So if something you see the combination, it's not working in your chart, doesn't mean that the technique is wrong. You have to remember
Yeah,
that there is always
that's,
exceptions to it.
yeah, that's a very good question because because at the end of the day, this is not the only way how, because these parameters which have been found in 20 charts, uh, that's not the only way a career will be reflected in someone's life. Because there can be other ways as well a person can pursue that career. So that's a very good question, and I think I would like to get some feedback if let's say these predictive parameters. Let's say someone is a YouTuber and which we'll discuss in today's interview. If someone is a YouTuber and the parameters which I mentioned doesn't apply to his chart, but he's still a YouTuber doing well, then probably he can get back to me and send his chart and his birth details. I'll be very happy to do
Absolutely. I
that.
think if somebody among our viewers where the technique doesn't work, please share your details in the comments, and Dhruvji will definitely be uh, there to help.
I'll
It's a
be I'll be
search
keen
for
to know,
everyone.
and I'll be keen to provide my comments and feedback as well.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank
Let's
you.
start with the presentation.
So, is my presentation visible now?
It is visible.
Okay, let me. Yeah, okay. So the title of the book is Career Choices Explained Through Astrology. And I think Arpita has already introduced myself and how my journey into astrology started. So I will not repeat these things. But I like to very from my bottom of my heart, I would like to thank Shimal Boni. I think the idea of the book was suggested by him only, and from his guidance and motivation, I was able to complete the book. I think people have already I've already spoken about me. So about the other part, I'll quickly skip. About the book, I've already explained that it covers five different career choices, and I'll highly recommend the methodology section, the first chapter of the book. Everyone who's interested in the book should read this first chapter to start on with. So like the main agenda of the presentation, I think I'll cover meaning of third and tenth houses in Vedic astrology. I assume that since it's a astrology channel, many people will know about these things, but please be patient with me because obviously there will be some people who will be beginners, and getting the ground covered from the beginning will really help everyone. And probably it will for people who are more experienced, it will also I think they will also learn something from this. Then astrological factors such as strength of houses and or lords. So I'll discuss how a house in, how a particular house in a chart becomes strong. Then I'll discuss Gemini Karkas and their significance. What does Gemini system Karkas mean? And then I'll discuss how composite technique can be used for prediction. And then what astrological factors lead a person to choose a certain profession. So I think this one should be interesting for many people because they want to know whether I can pursue a particular career or not. So stay tuned. And at the end, I'll discuss on this interview. I'll take career as a YouTuber, like as a internet personality. I'll discuss charts of few successful YouTubers also towards the end. So, like, what is the meaning of third house? Like, I mean, we have a horoscope, we have a chart, so we go to the third house. Third house basically is the house of communication, right? We communicate. It's a house of internet. It's a house of media. It corresponds to Gemini, the third house, which is the sharing and writing. So, Amit, if we look at, let's say, we talk about social media, right? I mean, people assemble together over internet. But what they are essentially doing, they are sharing videos, they are commenting, they are communicating. They are presenting themselves. They have a hobby which they want to share with the world. So basically, the third house denotes communication, and all the internet and all the Facebook, social media. Third house has a major role to play. So please keep this in mind as we move ahead in the presentation. So, and the 10th house, what is 10th house? So 10th house is one's actions and achievements. Like 10th house is the house of karma, what we are out doing in the world. So so these were some basic meanings of third and 10th houses because they are important. Because yeah, because they are important because to judge a career, one should look at the 10th house, and for third house, the kind of career, communication. So all these things become important. So if there is a connection between, let's say there is a connection between third house and 10th house, 10th house of career, third house of communication, then we are drawn towards a career which involves a lot of communication, for example. So now again, these are very basic things like such as astrological factors such as strength of houses and or lords. So how does a house become strong in our horoscope? Because that's also important. I'll come to it. Why I'm talking about strength? Because first of all, let's understand how a house becomes strong. So planets in own sign or Rashi or planets in own sign in Rashi or Navamsh. Let's say Mars. So for example, let's say Mars is in Aries in Rashi chart. So that house which Aries represents becomes strong. And let's say Mars also is in Aries in Navamsh, for example. And Mars rules the third house. So again, the third lord gains his strength. So we can understand things like that. So planet in exaltation in Rashi or Navamsh. The similar concept, like a planet in own sign becomes strong, a planet in exalted state also becomes strong, either in Rashi or Navamsh. So planet in exchange in Rashi or Navamsh. So this is a very important concept because let's say there is an exchange between two planets in your Rashi chart. Both the planets become strong, and the houses which they rule also become strong because their lords are strong. This is something which every one should understand. Now, planet in a Vargotam condition is also considered to be strong. What I mean by Vargotam is like, let's say Mars is in Gemini in Rashi chart, and it's also in Gemini in Navamsha. So that condition is called Vargotam condition. And what it means is that Mars becomes strong, and the house which Mars rules also becomes strong because its Lord is gaining strength, in Rashi and in Navamsha. So these are some very basic things I think many people will know already, but I thought I'll cover this so that it
I
it
think
it,
that's a
it, will-
great
it will
idea what you're covering. It's so
yeah, yeah,
everyone, it can benefit people who don't know much, or a good revision for anyone who knows it already.
yes. So now I'll quickly cover the Gemini Karkas and their significance. Now let's say I'll show with examples also. A planet with the highest degree in a chart becomes the Atma Karka. It represents self and the body. It's like the first house in Parashari, Atma Karka, the first lord. It represents your body, it represents self. Planet with the second highest degree is called the Amartya Karka. It represents career and achievements. So if you have your chart up, so look for the planet excluding Rahu Ketu. Look at the planet which has the second highest degree. Now that planet assumes the role of Atma Karka in your life. So that's very important for career achievement, for career and achievements. Now BK is the third highest degree, planet with the third highest degree. It represents all third house matters such as for such as skills we have, like when we out there present ourselves, like singing, dancing, playing, all the skills and communication. MK is the planet with the fourth highest degree. It represents all the fourth house matters such as comforts, mother emotions, and things like that. All the fourth house matters. Planet with the fifth highest degree is called PK or the Putra Karka. and it represents children education in the Jaimini system of astrology. GK, the Gyati Karka is the sixth highest planet with the sixth highest degree. It represents the sixth house in Parashari, like all sixth house matters, like diseases, competition, things like that. Now, DK is the Dara Karka. It's also called DK. It's the planet with the seventh highest degree, and it represents our relationship life, the spouse, and things like. So please keep this in mind. You will, and especially keep the BK, the planet with the third highest degree, in mind for this particular interview because uh, it represents the communication part, which is what we are covering today, as because we'll be discussing the charts of careers of successful you people who have their channels on YouTube. So please keep BK in mind. So, how composite technique can be used for prediction? I have already discussed that, and let's do it quickly once again. Composite technique means looking for confluence between two or three dasha systems. What I have already explained what confluence is. Confluence is simply the a common time frame which if you see a common time frame in different dasha systems, that's called a confluence. And if an event is seen occurring in more than one dasha system at the same time, probability of the event occurring increases and one can be more sure about the prediction, as I already told earlier. And again, for example, the third lord in Vimshotri denotes communication, and BK in the Gemini system also denotes communication. So we have talked about now. Let's discuss something very important. I'll give you an example of the composite technique right away. Let's say we discussed the strength of houses in Parashari, like I discussed it earlier when the planet is in their own sign. So let's say third lord has strength. It's either exalted Vargottama or exchange in D1 or Navamsh. And at the same time, BK, the planet with the third highest degree in your chart, is also strong. So now we see a confluence. Now we see that the third house in Parashari has strength, and then we also see that BK has strength. So now we can be more sure that the third house matters in a person's life is likely to prosper. So this is the example of confluence which I was talking about earlier. Now the important question as to why how what astrological factors lead a person to choose a certain profession. Now, obviously, uh, a house that in the chart of a person, some house will be more prominent or will be more strong. Its dasha will come at the right time. So, up, let's for example, let's say for example, let's say third house is strong. A person is likely to gravitate towards careers represented by third house. If the third house is strong, he will naturally move towards that career. So if a person's third house is strong, he is likely to be in a communicative field, communicative or media or sharing, writing, performing, all those things will come into his life easily as compared to some of the other careers. Hence, profession represented by each house must be understood. So if we are trying to understand career of a person, the first thing we should do is what house represents what fields. We should know that, and whether that house has strength or not. If the house has strength, if it is prominent, and then the person is very likely to go in that career direction. So that's the first takeaway, with most important takeaway which I want people to take from this presentation of mine is that please assess the strength of the houses in a chart first. And a house can become strong from alternate lagnas such as Chandra Lagna and Dasha Lagna too. Now, this is also a very important concept because in our Vedic Jyotish, we also look at Chandra. Chandra is a very moon, is a very important planet, and we look at different houses from Chandra as well. So let's say from our main Lagna, if third house is strong, may not be strong. Let's say it's not strong. But from Chandra Lagna, it is strong. Again, strength can be seen from different points. Let's say a person after doing a career has decided to change career, right? Let's say a person was in IT field and now he wants to become a YouTuber, for example.
which is very
Now,
common these
let's
days.
say, yeah, it's a very common thing. And let's say he's running a dasha of a planet from where the third house is very prominent. And now I'm talking about dasha lagna. Let's say he's running a dasha of a planet from where the third house becomes strong or prominent, and the relevant time periods are coming into his life. So again, that shows that a person can take up a communicative or a writing field, provided he has interest and skills for it. He can go for that career. So that is seen from Dasha Lagna also. As I show example charts, I'll make clear the Chandra Lagna, Dasha Lagna, AK, BK, strength of houses. I'll cover everything in detail. Now, career as a YouTuber, as I mentioned, the third house will becomes very strong because it relates to our communication. And again, third house, and lot from alternative lagnas like Chandra Lagna and Dasha Lagna should also be seen. Now, BK, the Jaimini Karka representing communications, is also likely to be strong in charts of YouTubers. Now, now you see, now this is what I meant by confluent picture. We have third house from Parashari strong. We have BK from Gemini strong. I mean, if we see such a thing, a person has a very, very high chance that he'll succeed in a communicative field. And he'll derive some satisfaction from it also, from that field. That's what I meant by composite technique, and that's how I have approached to find out careers in my book also. Again, I mean, if you look at charts of people who are into this field, like in social media, they have a very strong third house, and it's not just for YouTubers, it's not just for YouTube, for other types of social media platforms like Twitter. Twitter is basically sharing. You are writing, you are communicating, you are typing something. And Instagram, you're making reels, you're sharing photos, people are commenting upon the photos. So it's basically a form of communication, sharing. Similarly with Facebook. So, so these principles apply to all social media platforms. Third house becomes really, really important. And again, I must emphasize that the strength of the third house in Parashari and Gemini, if they are both pointing out towards strength, then we can be more sure that person is likely to succeed in a communicative field. So example charts, I'll show the example charts of successful YouTubers, and please pay more attention to the third house from different alternative lagnas. I'll show. So, so the first chart which I'm showing is the person named Arnaldo Ribeiro. Now you can read about him. He's a very famous internet personality, and he started his YouTube channel on in October 2019. I'll show his chart just in a minute. But he was running the Mahadasha. Again, Mahadasha is the major period in Vimshottari. So he's running the Mahadasha of Saturn and Antardasha of Venus. So let's focus on Saturn on Venus because he was under the influence of Saturn and Venus. So let's look up his chart. Now, immediately we should, since we are talking about communication, we should look at Saturn first of all, because he was under the major period of Saturn, sub period of Venus. Now, if you look at Saturn, Saturn is the third lord, right? It number 11. Now, Saturn is the third lord. Again, we see, influence of third lords coming up straight away. Saturn is the third lord. Uh, but Saturn is not particularly strong, right? Saturn doesn't seem to have strong. Yeah, I mean, if you look at D9, Saturn is in Aries, it's debilitated. So I was talking about third house, I was talking about strength. So how does it happen then? Now, if you look at alternative lagnas, now that's what I call the alternative lagnas. Now, if you look at Chandra lagna, right? Chandra lagna, the third house from the Chandra lagna is ruled by Moon, which is exalted. Now we are beginning to see how strength is adding up. Now, Moon is strong from the Chandra Lagna. Moon is also Saturn. Moon is also the third lord from Dasha Lagna. So we see that the third lord from Dasha Lagna and third lord from Chandra Lagna, which happens to be the same thing, Moon, is strong in this person's chart, and this person was running Saturn period. So this is how he started his channel. And now if you look at BK, Moon also happens to be the BK. Now BK is exalted in this chart. So again, we see that the third house and BK both are strong, and this is how this person started his channel. So I'll quickly move to the second example. Now this guy, Birdsong Joseph, also is a famous YouTube personality, and he started in. I mean, you can read about him. He started his channel in around January 2007, and he was running a period of Mars and the major period of Mars and Antardasha of Sun. So again, we should look at Mars and Sun to start on with. Now, if you look at his chart, Mars is the third lord. If you see, Mars happens to be it's an Aquarius lagna. Mars is the third lord in the 10th house. Again, in sign of Scorpio, which is its own sign. So Mars is again strong. Now, this Sun is very interesting. Now, why? Because the Sun. I mean, if you look at the Dasha lagna, let's say the 10th lord from Scorpio is Sun. Now it has gone to the third house, again house of communication. So that's what I was talking about. There is a 310 connection. The 10th, now there is a 310 connection from Dasha Lagna and from the main Lagna also. And the third lord from Moon, it happens to be the Moon, and that is exalted too, right? And BK, Mars is also the BK here. So all the predictive parameters which I had earlier explained, right? The strength of the third house from different alternative lagnas and BK, they both are strong. There is a 10-3 connection. So we see all these things, coming together. All these things present a very confluent picture. And this guy, as a result, chose a career which deals with YouTube and communication and became very successful in doing it. Now, again, this person, Bush Group, he started his major, he started his YouTube channel in the major period of Mars. And now let's look at his chart. Now, again, we see there is a Mars is in third house, again, house of communication. But now again, how is this Mars becoming strong? Now, Mars is becoming strong because it's in exchange with Venus. Mars is in Venus sign and Venus is in Mars sign. So because of this exchange, it gives strength to Mars. Mars also happens to be the BK. So again, BK is strong. If you look at third lord from Moon, which is again Mars, now again Mars is in the third house, strong. So again we see a very confluent picture. Third lord Venus is strong. Third lord from Moon, which is Mars, is also strong, and BK, which is Mars, is also strong. Again a very confluent picture is there. And if we look at D10, which I'll just cover very briefly, Mars is in third house of communication. So again, we are seeing a very confident picture that in Mars period, some activity or some career related to third house, if a person chooses to do, he can pursue it successfully. So with this, I finish my presentation. And I hope that the viewers would have got a fairly good idea in terms of what the strength of houses and what the composite technique means. So thank you very much. Now I am over to Arpita now. So if there are any questions that can be taken.
Thank you. First of all, Ruji, this was amazing. The presentation explained in very simple words. I think somebody who does not really know much about astrology will be able to follow this and make some predictions for themselves. Um, I have one question for you, Dhruv. It looks like that we can't just rely on the D1 chart, or to get a better understanding, we should not just look at the D1 or the Rashi chart, but the other subdivisional charts also, right?
I think every divisional chart is important, but the most important chart is our D1, like the main chart. So we start any analysis from the D1 chart. But to assess the strength of, let's say, planets, we should also see D9. But since we are talking about career, for career, the most important divisional chart for career is D10. So yes, start with D1, then we look at D9, then we also focus on D10 too. Yeah, all these charts are important.
So, depending upon our viewers' understanding of astrology, they can go further. Starting with D1, if they want to
Yes,
go further,
yes.
if they understand further, they look at D9 and then D10. Right.
True,
So,
true.
what Dhruvji basically has done, he's given you all the tools to make some amazing predictions for yourself. Uh, and the good news is that we will be back with Dhruvji with more sessions, and he will be covering more topics and more career choices. So, stay tuned. Thank you so much, Dhruvji, for your time, for sharing your technique, your wisdom, your knowledge with us. We really enjoyed it.
Thank you. And namaste to all your viewers and audience. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you so much.